Yo, let's talk. Let's keep it in football for a minute before we transition to basketball, man. Shit's been irking me this week, man, because with the Giants and the Jets being so bad, right? And a lot of these teams. Well, just let's go. Let's stay with the Giants and the Jets. Giants and Jets being so bad, it's hard to watch. I'm looking forward to the offseason, the hot stove shit, the draft talks, the trade talk. That's what I'm looking forward to. Kind of like what the Mets and the Yankees are going through now with Soto and Berm, all these free agents and shit, Max Free and all these. But you're hearing a lot of coaching names pop up. I'm hearing names like Vrabel, Belichick, Flores, Aaron Glenn. You know what I'm saying? All guys who I think pretty highly of. You know what I'm saying? And there's others I've left out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going off the top of the dome and shit.
Yeah, Ben Johnson.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know the names. You know the usual suspects. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But there's a name, a name that shocked me. It's a controversial name. It's a jarring name. It's a name that just doesn't sit well with me. You know what I'm saying? And that name is John Gruden. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to get back into the NFL. Mm-hmm. There's splinters and factions of people who support him coming back into the NFL. And then there's a whole section of people who disagree with him getting back in, getting a second chance, if you will. You know what I'm saying? If you're home and you're saying, what's the big deal? Get John Gruden back in there. Let me just refresh your memory a little bit. You know what I'm saying? John Gruden, a few years back, right? Well, first of all, we all know what he's done with the Tampa Bay Bucks. We know that team. A lot of people say that was Tony Dungy's team. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go there or not. That's for y'all to decide. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say Tony Dungy built that team, kind of like, like almost like how Mark Jackson passed it off to Steve Kerr. You know what I'm saying? Eric Mangini kind of passed it off to Rex Ryan, even though Rex didn't win the championship. But people say, kind of that was the house that Dungy built, and Gruden went in there and reaped his benefits. Like I said, I'll leave that up to you guys. But he was on I liked him a lot with Madden, when him and Madden used to be commentating. Two of the best in my opinion. That Amazing. Shit was just like going to school. Listen to them commentating. Madden and Gruden was crazy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think he's arrogant. But a couple of years ago, when they had that investigation into Dan Snyder and the now the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins, there was an investigation. I think the New York Times reported this first. NFL investigation on workplace misconduct. And they uncovered some emails that Mr. Gruden had sent. Right, the initial investigation didn't directly involve him, but it found that Gruden had, casually and frequently unleashed misogynistic, homophobic, and what can be deemed as racial tropes in several emails that was uncovered in that investigation. Now, if you listen to these emails, he denounced the emergence of women as referees, the drafting of gay players. What else?
He called the commissioner an F word.
Called the commissioner a faggot, yeah,
and a pussy,
and a pussy, right? And he said that Goodell should have never pressured Jeff Fisher. At that time, he was coach of the Rams to draft queers. A clear reference to Michael Sam, who was a gay player chosen by the Rams in 2014. And then he had like some borderline, and I'm gonna say borderline. I don't even want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Racial statements, you know what I'm
saying? With the DeMaurice Smith statements about his lips,
right? Basically saying he has the lips the size of Michelin tires and all this crazy goofy shit. Now, I'm gonna play, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jay, because I forgot about that. I'm gonna play a clip from Warren Sapp, who was one of the greatest fucking DBs in the history of the NFL.
He belongs in. If we refer back,
one of the QB killers. Him, LT. There's a bunch of them. But Warren don't be wrapped that tight, man. When he be talking, he be loose when he be talking. He be too loose. But he was on that Tampa Bay Bucks team, along with Keyshawn and a bunch of other dudes. He was on Vlad TV, and he basically, I'm gonna play it and see what y'all got to say about it.
All right. League investigation into the Washington football team for workplace misconduct uncovered that
emails were sent where he used racist, misogynistic, and homophobic slurs.
Wait. Where's the racist term?
The racist term. Okay, hold on a
please.
second. Gruden used a racist stereotype to describe NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, saying DeMaurice Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires.
That's racist? If he said, when I walk in my locker room, it looks like I got a bunch of DeMaurice Smiths in there by the mouth, that would be a racial trope. But to say DeMaurice Smith got big lips, yeah, DeMaurice Smith got big lips, just like Barack Obama got big ears. We've been calling Big Lip Johnny for the last 40 years. I bet this is the first time in DeMaurice Smith's life somebody called him big lips, he said it was racist.
Well, he also called Roger Goodell a faggot. And
that's not racist.
And football pussy.
That's not racist.
It's homophobic.
I asked a question. I said, what's the racist statement? The rest of that is way out of line, across the board. But you're not going to call my head coach a racist. I sat in front of him for 2 years, and I'm a child of the South. I was raised in Florida. There's no way a fire-breathing racist would be in front of me or on my speed dial, and we haven't had a real discussion.
Now, let me just say this before I hand it up to you. I want to tie everything in there. He's clearly, his loyalties are clearly lie with John Gruden, who he won a Super Bowl with. Real quick, Jay, you can speak to this too, because you're now in the South. We're all New Yorkers. I lived in the South for 10 years. When I first moved to the South, real quick, the first thing I saw in the South was I think I might have told you this. The first day I moved down there, not a month later, the first day, a truck rolled by, a pickup truck, and they were waving 2 Confederate flags there. And they were like, boy, no. And I was like, I wasn't even in the deep South. I was in Virginia. Virginia's like right next to D.C. And I was just like, this shit is deep. So I understand where he's coming from. He's a South dude. We all know how racists rang out heavy in the South. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more than in the North, even though there's racism up here. I don't, if you're going to give Gruden a chance, and I know, pardon self for being long with it. If you're going to give Gruden a chance, you got to give Kaepernick a chance. Like there's a long list of people now you got to give a chance to. I feel those were racist comments, and I just feel like he can, shape them and mold them and hide behind saying, you know what I mean? Like we all snap on people, man. Let's be honest with you, man. We've all said crazy shit to our peoples, you know what I'm saying? Race related. That don't mean we're racist, you know what I'm saying? Puerto Ricans be jumping out the car 35 deep, and Chinese niggas can't drive, and black niggas, that crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Q, let me pass it off to you real quick. Do you think those were racist statements? And do you think he deserves a second chance to come back in the NBA, in the NFL? This is deep.
It is. It's a little rough because like when you talk about, all that, but let me first by saying this. I don't think he's gonna be given another chance.
He's bubbling right now, low key.
Yeah. I don't, and the reason I don't is because of those statements, right? So all the homophobic stuff. That's great.
That shit might fuck him up. The LGBTQ shit.
Between that, but I don't even think that's what's really gonna kill him right now because I don't think there's that many, gay dudes in football, you know what I mean? And if they do, then they're still in the closet, you know what I mean? But what I know, there's a lot of minorities in the NFL, and you gotta also understand, like this type of generation that we are right now, that's a lot of things have transpired since then. He has the target on his head right now that he's considered a racist, whether you choose to believe it or not. Warren Sapp is thinking that way because he's played for the man, he won a Super Bowl and all these other things, but you never know what true people are thinking behind you. You know what I mean? All these Karens and everything, man, they be laughing at your face and fucking go home and talking all this wild shit. You know what I mean? Like, you really don't know what these type of people are doing. And you know what? Gruden got caught with his fucking pants down, no homo, but you know what I mean? Or pause, whatever.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, but no, he got caught.
I'm drunk right now.
He got caught saying some. He got caught saying some statements.
Who caught him? You?
That's Diddy caught him.
Holy shit! Yo, wow.
That's. We'll just pretend we didn't hear that. Can't continue.
Poor shot. Fuck
yeah.
I'm not doing this with you guys.
I'm not doing this.
Yo, we had a pocket today. Jay been on me all day. I've been wilding out. I'm drunk right now. Pause.
Oh my god. it just keeps getting worse. Yo,
Oh,
yo,
God.
guys, what the fuck is going on out there? Yeah, I'm booking a flight. I'm coming out there. I gotta make sure my guys are okay.
Come back to the
I don't
soil.
know. Yo, peace our
Oh,
way of life.
God.
Peace out.
That's all all the tribe.
My bad. Q. Continue.
Yeah.
No, but what he got caught was basically, saying probably what he was interpreting not to harm people. Like he probably just talks what he really feels and not worrying who the fuck is listening or how anybody's gonna perceive it. You gotta also understand he played football, man. Like those guys, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think about a football player? Tough, right? Gritty and fucking, like a real man and all that stuff, right? What it
Yeah.
represents and shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Construction, that type of
Yeah.
thing. And
Blue collar shit.
yeah, and he's saying some stuff, and I think what's really going to catch him is that racist comment because there's like I said, there's a ton of minorities, and young black men and Spanish people in the league right now. Like they running the game right now. The last thing he needs to do is go to a team, and 75% of them are the type of people that think that you offended their race or their ethnicity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think they're gonna play for you and jump out the window for you and you know what I mean? They're not gonna give them the 125%. If that's how you perceived yourself to be, he's gonna have to win them back. But I don't see that happening because you're already coming in, three games down in the start of a season. You know what I mean? You're already 0-3 when you start trying to manage that type of team and coach those type of guys. Like it's a different type of world that we live in right now, and I don't think it's gonna be something that people are gonna take too likely, especially on the type of mind frames that we have on these young kids. Like they're gonna push back on him quickly.
No, absolutely. Listen, I'm not gay. And respect to the LGBT community, do it. Do what you got to do. I don't judge. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I can't speak for the women. You know what I'm saying? Although I want to say that I'm a father of daughters and everything grew up under my mom's. So I don't agree with that. But what I am is a black man. You know what I'm saying? And Q, you're Puerto Rican, and Jay, you're a black man. So you can definitely speak to that. What's your take on this whole thing?
I know, like, there's a couple of things. So there's I'm not as frustrated with the Demarcus Lawrence lip comment as
Mhm.
everyone else is. I'm really not,
Mhm.
and I'll tell you why. I'm more uncomfortable with the misogynistic statements towards women.
Mhm.
Um, and again, that just comes from me, like having a mom, having a sister, and knowing how I feel about how women should be treated, just in general. I don't have the same energy or the same level of reverence for gay people and homosexuality because I'm not gay. I'm not from that community, but I also know that everyone needs to have a certain level of respect. Everyone needs to be treated that way. Everyone needs to be protected. I completely understand that there's no place in our world for hate of any type for any group, culture, any of those things, right? So I'll start there. And then I'll spin it all the way back to me being a black man, you being a black man. Of course, Q. You're Puerto Rican, so you're fucking black.
Yeah, you're
And
black too.
yeah. So so
No, like real talk, you're really black, but we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So the statement about the guy's lips, it doesn't ring racism the way I've heard racism ring before. I've heard racism. I know what racism is.
Mhm.
Um, it's hard to be a racist in the NFL in the locker room. In higher areas, as far as like being in maybe the corporate side of it, owners and things like that, absolutely you'll see it more. But to be standing there and in those locker rooms with those men, 52 guys, 40 of them are probably black. you know, it's
Yeah.
tougher. And those players have ways like we do to gauge like this guy's not one of us. This guy doesn't
Mhm.
feel the way I feel. This guy doesn't feel about me how this white guy feels about me, how I feel about that white guy or whatever. Like there's something that can be said about that. So I kind of understand what he was saying when he was like, "Nah, I don't see that." And he called it out, like the misogynistic, the homosexuality shit. I'm with it. Like I get it. That needs to be condemned and needs to be straightened out. And does he deserve a second chance? I don't know. But the NFL is a forgiving fucking league up until a point, right? They haven't forgiven a guy who took a fucking knee. So I don't know that we can have that same conversation about a guy who did all these different things. Whether the racism, if we take the racism shit out, he should be launched just off that. If we're going in that direction, because Colin Kaepernick did nothing. Like he was peaceful, right?
Peaceful.
He was peaceful. He
Yeah.
didn't shit on anybody.
Nope.
He didn't call anybody a faggot. He didn't call anybody a pussy. He didn't say anything ridiculous or weird or disgusting about women. And he didn't make any like those. All he did was take a knee. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I guess if you look at it through the lens of how the world views the flag, which again, I understand it. Like, flag is patriotic. We're in the greatest country in the world. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I understand that. I completely get it. And there are people that go out there and give their blood, sweat, and tears, black, white, Puerto Rican, and indifferent, that live in our country that we absolutely have to commend and love and respect because we are able to do this based on their actions. So I understand both sides of it. But if we're really being honest, who did something worse?
Yeah.
And if we go in that lens, if we look at it through that lens, the worst of the two, of course, we'll say is John Gruden. Look at how he's talking about people. Look at what, like is if that's what's coming out of his mouth, what's in his heart. Whereas if we look at Colin Kaepernick, all that's in his heart is he wants equality. He wants everyone to be treated the same. He wants, his whole original platform was that there was police brutality, that they were treating black people and brown people differently than they were treating other races. So he's not trying to tip the scales in one direction. He's trying to level it. Whereas John Gruden's statements were trying to almost tip the scales based on his statements. And I hope I'm making sense. I think I am, but I hope I'm making sense.
Absolutely. No, I agree, and I can't get past the Kaepernick thing, and that's really that's where I stand on business. Like, how can you give this guy a second chance? Listen, whether you are a homosexual, if you're not heterosexual, whatever you categorize yourself as, there's something that's unwritten, something when you read between the lines, the LGBT community, they run a lot of shit out here. They make it hard for a lot of fucking people, right? So for John Gruden to be able to get away with some shit like that, talk about women, borderline racist comments, whether you feel they're racist or not, calling Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, a faggot and a pussy and all this crazy shit. Roger Goodell was one of the reasons, and I
Talking about
understand
drafting queers.
right, you know what I'm saying? And Roger Goodell's one of the reasons why. And on top of that, he's suing the NFL. You know what I'm saying? There's a law. He has a pending lawsuit.
He lost it.
He lost. Okay, so he lost the lawsuit.
Yeah.
But either way, you sued the NFL. You lost that. You know, and then like you said, the Kaepernick thing is spot on. I can't get past that, man. Like I literally, and I feel guilty because I literally boycotted the NFL for a year. Q, you remember this? I didn't watch the NFL for a year after they expelled Kaepernick out the league. So I'm passionate about that. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about in other episodes. I've been beat up by cops before. I've been harassed. I know what it is to walk in the store and they follow you around the store looking to see. I know what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? So Kaepernick, how do you give Gruden a second chance, but you don't give Kaepernick a second chance? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my whole point. And how can you go in front of a locker room? And Q, you alluded to this, and Jay too. How can you go in front of a locker room and be a leader of men, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? When you don't really stand on anything, your moral compass is out of here. It's totally out of whack. You know what I'm saying? How can you go in there and lead men? Like the
You got
linebacker,
52 guys.
right?
You got
And the
52 guys.
linebacker, like you said, we have mothers and sisters. The linebacker might been raised by his mom and his sisters.
Or he's got a gay brother.
Right, the cornerback has a gay brother, right?
Or whatever it may be.
And I don't care what you say. Maybe it's not technically racist, but come on, man, read between the lines. We understand what that is. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it. I know you don't have a problem with it, but let's keep it a buck.
Well, let me
that's
say I don't have
your
a problem with it.
stereotype.
Let me clarify, right? I'm not gonna say I don't have a problem with it. And the reason why I'm like, yo, listen, I'm from the streets, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're from the streets. Q's from the streets. We make all types of weird motherfucking jokes all day, every day about everybody.
That's a fact.
Even ourselves. most about ourselves.
Mostly about ourselves.
So like that. I'm like, all right, fuck it, yo. The guy's got big lips. If I look at him, he's got fucking big lips. Like, the guy's, he's not the easiest guy to look at. He's not a handsome motherfucker. He's a weird looking guy with fucking huge ass lips. So I'm like, yo, listen, I'm not.
You gotta relax. You gotta relax.
No, and I'm being honest. This guy's not the fucking easiest guy to look at. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I got a ton of people in my community that look like that. And I don't really give a fuck about that. Right. Is it for him to say that? But then listen, we've said other things about other people, and we don't mean it from hate. Yeah, it's just like, yo, that shit, shit is wild. Like, and I've had these back and forth conversations. He didn't use the N-word. He didn't, like that. It's not profiled anywhere. I don't know if it was there and they just never launched it, but it's not there. Yeah, should he have said it? Could it be? I'm not solely like sold on that in the racism piece, right? Whatever,
Agreed. There's no hard proof that he's a racist. I get it.
There's no hard proof there. The other shit, 1,050%. But what I was gonna spin back to is, like, I thought about something like, and I thought about, there's a guy, and you guys probably know this guy. His name is Greg Hardy, and he played for Dallas, for the Dallas Cowboys. He did some really bad stuff. I remember there was something where he threw the girl on the bed, bed of guns, and all the other things. And the Dallas Cowboys gave him a contract and allowed him to play football after that. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, like, and I don't want to spin it back to the Kaepernick piece, but I'm just saying, like, they make adjustments and provisions where they feel like making adjustments and provisions.
Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger. Wasn't he like allegedly raping bitches in the bathroom and bars or some shit?
I mean,
allegedly.
Me and my guys, we used to call him Benjamin Rape Ruthless Burger. Which is the wildest joke in the world, but that's a wild statement to make. Again, we don't have any.
He played the next year after he got into that trouble. Yeah,
these are all things that can be looked at, and we say to ourselves, like, these people were allowed to finish and enjoy their career and flourish. And and I don't want to go too far back into the Colin Kaepernick piece, but that's the philosophy. Adjustments are made where they're made, and that's fucked up.
But that's why I feel like that's what the NFL needs, and I feel like the NFL already took a hit on that, and I think now they need to understand they can't do that no more. They have to keep those people out of the league who need to be out of the league and need to avoid that type of stereotypical of, because if you think about it, the NFL right now, the NFL seems kind of racist, right? Like, look what happened to, because you got the Ray Rices, then you got the Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, the Ray Rice don't seem racist at all.
No, I'm just talking about like wild shit that obviously he got banned and he needed to get banned. He knocked her out. That was crazy. But then you got Deshaun Watson out here fucking, convincing masseuses over here, 23 girls. Like, that's got the craziest contract ever. And then you got and then you got Joe. Now under the scrutiny, that this is where the NFL is gonna have to make a decision if they decide to bring him back into the league, because now, let's say if him and Brian Flores go to the same job and Gruden gets the job, but Brian Flores doesn't, he already made a whole rule, to the league. Like, are you not going to give him a shot again? And that's the type of decision that the NFL has to need, that they have to understand of, like, what's going to happen. And then on top of that is the organization that chooses to hire him. Now you're going to have an image.
Deshaun Watson never was the same again after he stopped getting massages and dick sucks. So, so karma fixed that.
I'm chopping that up into a short. That's a whole fact, though.
Karma fixed that. Like that was karma.
Listen, top is important, young ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
word up. That's probably why he fucking got his Achilles torn.
Like there wasn't enough. Like he didn't release enough juice, and he, like after he didn't get spunked out enough, and eventually it caught up with his Achilles. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm gonna say to y'all is like, let's not bring him up. Let's leave him out of this. But the long and the short of what
that's crazy. Yeah, the show,
what I'm trying
the show is never the same after he stopped getting top.
And massages.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yo, it's wild. It's wild to think about.
But, that's how they're gonna start his 30 for 30, bro.
Nah, they're gonna ban me behind that statement. Don't
they're gonna have a chick topping a nigga off like
they're gonna
30 for 30.
Nah, y'all gonna get me banned. They're gonna be like, we hate that kid, get him out of there. But they're gonna throw me off the show behind that statement.
That's crazy. But that Rooney rule, by the way, that you mentioned, that shit's bullshit anyway. But
it's just it's fake. It's
that
false,
shit don't mean shit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. That's just a way to circumvent the fucking
not hiring.
Right.
Yeah, to make it look like
we spoke to him. We spoke to him. He just didn't say.
Yeah, legal liability shit. Fuck that shit. But the NFL, they bought like I don't say they racist, but the owners are a lot of old guys. And I'm saying Marrow, but Marrow's involved in the scandal with not scandal, but the thing with Brian Flores and Brian Dable, and they're trying to call him a racist, and we know what the fuck Jerry Jones is all about. You know what I'm saying? He was the picture with him, and being in the Deep South, and a lot of these guys are old guys. You know what I'm saying? The who owns the Steelers? Not the Rooneys. Not the Rooneys. Yeah, the Rooneys. Yeah, the Rooneys. Right? Yeah, that's what the Rooney was from. Yeah. So, like a lot of these guys are old school. The old school guys think a little different, and the younger guys are more evolved. I'm not saying not all the younger guys aren't racist, but the older school guys are a little bit more. That old school shit was different. Now, racism has a different face now than it did back then. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it doesn't exist. But yeah, man, like I Gruden, I hope you don't get the job, bro. The real talk. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think you deserve the job.
Rex, fucking Vrabel,
Ben Johnson,
Flores,
Aaron Flores,
Aaron Glenn. These guys deserve opportunities, and I want to see them.
Belichick,
if he chooses. If he absolutely chooses, he has the right.
Belichick should be able to dictate where he's going. I'm sorry,
1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%. And listen, I hated Belichick for my entire adult career, right? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
As far as, and I love the guy to death now. As far as how he's recreated himself, in the media, and now I understand it too. Like I understand what he created as far as a culture. Like he had to absolutely insulate himself from bullshit in order to make sure that everything around him operated and ticked exactly as it should have to put them in
He's a different guy now. Like, right? Seen him on the Manning cast, and
he's relaxed.
And he's joking around. I saw him in some skit the other day with him. I think it was Ocho Cinco. I forgot. He be wilding now. He be absolutely wilding. Yeah, he's enjoying himself.
Y'all, question for you: do you guys see Steve Spagnuolo ever becoming a head coach or wanting that type of responsibility on another team?
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Like the guy is fantastic. Like I mean, think about this. I mean, I know he's like he's doing fantastic in Kansas City, but the thought process is why would he not want his own opportunity? I think he coached before. Where was he? He was
the Rams.
He was with the Rams, right?
Yeah.
So
it didn't work out too well, but yeah.
But sometimes it's the location, it's the personnel.
He's a genius in my opinion. He's a fucking defensive genius.
I think this guy's great. Like why would he not? Like why? And again, you have to. I think he should pick his opportunity wisely. Like, don't just rush in. Fools rush in.
Yeah.
So don't pick the opportunity. Like, don't pick a Jets or a Giants job because that shit. Like, don't. As bad as I would love him in the Jets, don't do it. Like, I like the guy in a successful. I want to see him be successful.
He might get some leeway though with the Giants because of what he did here, but I mean I don't think he's a head coach for this. I don't think he fits. I don't know, man. I revere Spags though. Spags gave us Some good.
But listen,
Word up.
both of
Best-
those teams
probably the best defensive coordinator ever, right? Like he has like
Ever.
the most rings.
Definitely one of. Bill
The
Belichick would
Giants-
probably be number one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
of course he'd be number
Yeah.
one. The Giants and the Jets, by far, to me, and maybe I'll speak for my Jets only, are the worst team that are in football. And I don't mean just as far as the product that you see on the field. I mean just everything. From like, and I've said this on a couple of different, I'm gonna say it again because it's important. I want to get this shit out. The like a fish thinks from the head down.
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing. There is nothing of as far as culture wise. Let me clarify that. As far as talent, we're bulletproof all over the fucking field. But as far as culture, we have no redeeming qualities.
Nope.
Not one. Not one. We don't know what the fuck we are. We don't know who runs the locker room. We have all types of weird personalities that are changing the shape of how we view the game. And that shit translate onto the field ridiculous. It's the most disgusting shit. We have a plethora of wealth as far as in the talented moments, and we absolutely squander it based on how we operate. It's fucking hideous. And I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore because I'm getting angry as we speak.
Facts.
And I'd rather think about something more positive.